Hello, everybody, and welcome aboard a brand new spanking episode of Dan and Frankie Go to Hollywood. I don't really know why it's spanking, but it's just something that people say.
We're
Uh,
talking about Kevin Smith at Fitz.
yeah, exactly. For those of you who haven't already deduced who we are, because, like, I mean, our names are on the screen right now and it's in the podcast and everything, I don't really know, but my name is Dan.
And I'm Frankie.
And we're here today to continue our in-depth analysis of Kevin Smith's View Askewniverse with his third film, 1997's Chasing Amy. But before we get stuck into this, you had a bit of a question, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I just thought, Ben Affleck made the jump to main star in this
Mm,
one.
he
And
did.
so I thought, let's talk about Ben Affleck.
Let's talk about
And
let's talk
I thought it
about
would
Ben,
be,
baby.
thought it might be interesting to like
Mm.
discuss what our favorite films are or least favorite films
Yeah,
that
yeah,
he's
just for a
in.
little bit.
So,
We're not gonna hold you up. Everyone right
no,
now who's like, oh
we're
my
not
God, I can't
gonna,
wait to hear about Chasing Amy. They're
yeah.
like,
No.
ah, but no,
I'm
this won't
sure
take long.
everyone who wants to hear about Chasing Amy would also be interested in Ben Affleck movies. We're a
Exactly.
movie
Um,
podcast. Let's talk about
I
movies.
can already guess what one of your favorite Ben Affleck films is. It's got three words in the title, and one of them is confused, one of them is and one of them is dazed.
Yeah, that's like all things. It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
hmm
And he also has such a memorable performance in it. He's kind of like it's a big ensemble movie,
Mm.
but so there's sort of the core people, and then there's a whole lot of supporting people. And so he's one of the supporting people, but kind of steals it because he's just such an asshole. And
Yeah.
then there's just a really amazing scene
Mm.
with him, which I won't spoil for anyone who hasn't seen it, but
hmm
it's one of the most memorable bits in the movie. So the
Yeah, yeah.
and that is possibly the first time I saw him in a movie. I can't remember if I saw this
Okay.
before or after Mallrats, but
Right.
even if it was after Mallrats, it would have been the first time I noticed him because Mallrats, he's like a jerk and really
Mm.
boring clothes. Like there's nothing memorable about him in
Mm.
that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Um,
great film.
yeah, I obviously we're going to be I think it would be fair to pick three movies outside of the Askewniverse for this one because it's yeah, like I mean I'm just sort of looking at it is ridiculous how many of his films I have seen.
It's crazy that I actually haven't. I've seen 26 according to Letterboxd,
Oh, that's
which,
that's that's a lot.
but
Um
he's listed in a lot more. Well, he's
yeah,
listed in
yeah.
100, but Letterboxd
Yeah.
shows behind the scenes and all that. So I don't know how many he's actually been in.
And should we go with films that, because, like, I mean, I'm looking in his filmography and I'm seeing The Flash there, and obviously, that would be like a huge contender, but, he wasn't really in it for that much, and he
Hmm.
wasn't really like one of the sort of
Well,
stars of the
it's
film.
up to you if you want to go based on movie or based on him in the movie.
I,
You
I
can kind of,
reckon, I reckon it should be like based on, like an actual Ben Affleck film, if you know what I mean.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna kick off with mine. Good Will Hunting. I'm throwing into the mix straight
Do you
away.
know, I still have not seen that.
Oh,
I need to. I'm actually going to watch it because there's all the references in later
yeah, yeah,
Kevin
yeah. Of
Smith
course.
films.
Yeah.
And so
Well,
I knew what they were referencing, but I haven't actually seen the film to fully get
mm, well,
what
did
they're
you
doing.
know that Kevin Smith and Scott Mosier were actually ghostwriters on the script for this film? And initially, now I don't know. This is a story that I heard like way back in the infancy of the internet, and I nowadays I don't know if it's 100% true. I'd have to look it up at some point. But from what I heard, the initial story that was presented, like that Ben Affleck and Matt Damon wanted to write, was kind of a spy thriller sort of a film. And they took it to Kevin Smith, and he was actually the one who said, "No, you got to like make it a much more sort of real grounded." kind of film, with a human story and stuff like that. And so, yeah, so they actually kind of like help, develop the script and all that sort of stuff. So, but no, I just adore that film. There's just everything about it. The music in it is amazing. The story is just so great. The characters are great. Like, yeah, and it has Casey Astronaut in it as well. So, in a very memorable
Always a
scene
good thing.
involving a baseball glove. That's all I'll say. Yeah. What's next on your top three?
Well, there is a lot of films, well, not a lot, but there's a bunch that I have watched that I literally do not remember.
Oh, okay, right.
So I can't really count them because I don't remember what
Hmm.
happened. I don't remember what he did.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same actually.
One of them is 200 Cigarettes, which is one of those movies that has like everybody you know in it.
Hmm.
And I really want to watch it again, and it's so hard to find.
I
So,
have not seen that one.
um, really look at the
Hmm.
cast on it. It's like
Oh yeah, yeah. No,
so
that's a
amazing. So,
yeah.
um,
Um,
although he is bartender in it, so I don't know how much of a thing he has in it.
mm,
So I am going to do my controversial pick,
mm,
which is kind of, I don't know, there's something about this movie that I just like. So I bought the 4K when it came out because I wanted to have the 4K and upgrade from my crappy DVD.
mm.
And so that movie is Phantoms.
The funny thing is, I'm scrolling down. I just saw Phantoms. I'm like, oh, please don't pick Phantoms. And then you pick Phantoms. Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, that's
no, it's fun.
I'm not gonna
I'm
say
not saying it's a
anything
masterpiece,
bad.
but I
Yeah,
always
I'm not
have a
either.
good time when I watch
Yeah.
it. So,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Hey, that's what I'm like with a certain other movie that I'm not going to mention its name, but you know the one I'm talking about. Um, yeah, no, fair enough. I'm gonna for my next one, and this was a film that he was actually in substantially, and even though it was an ensemble
I
cast,
think you
he,
might pick my third one.
uh,
We'll see.
I
Keep
don't
going.
know,
Keep going.
but I'm going Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah, that's my third one.
Wow. Yeah, as much as I enjoy, I'm one of the few people who really enjoyed, the Joss Whedon Justice
Which
League.
I
But
still haven't seen
right,
because
right.
everyone told me to watch this one when I was
Mm,
going through all the
hmm.
things, and I meant to go back and watch the other one. I still haven't
Yeah,
got to
fair
it yet
enough.
because I was
Um,
curious about how one of the main characters is not a main character in that one, and so yeah, I just wanted to
mm.
see how it was done.
Yeah, yeah. But no, what they did with that Zack Snyder version was phenomenal. And yes, it's the longest movie ever made.
Mm.
It's
Doesn't
not, but
feel like it though.
exactly, that's the thing. Like
Mm.
for a 4 hour movie, it just
Because I
goes
was
by so
nervous about
quickly.
that when everyone said watch that one and I saw
Yeah,
how
yeah.
long it was. But yeah, it's
Mm.
really good.
I mean, if Batman had a more substantial role in The Flash, I would have picked that one over it. But I just can't because he was just in the beginning of the film. But yeah, this one was very much a more Batman heavy film. So yeah, I'm gonna go with that one. Being that I've hijacked your third choice, what did you want to say
Oh,
about it?
well, no, I mean, I watched it in a big long run of all the movies, so I don't
Mm,
remember all the specific things now, but I just
mm,
remember that I greatly enjoyed it. So that was
yeah.
more a pick for the movie specifically than
Hmm.
him. He's not my
Yeah.
favorite Batman, or
Oh,
Bruce Wayne, actually.
he is
So,
mine. He is mine up until I find out who James Gunn picks for the new universe because I'm very excited about that news. But
mm,
for my third, this is actually tough because he's done some really great films. I mean, Argo and The Town are both extraordinarily good films. I really enjoyed The Accountant. There's a whole bunch of really great films. Jersey Girl, I thought was good fun, but oh, he was in Boiler Room as well. But the one that I'm going to
mm.
go for my third choice is The Sum of All Fears. The Tom Clancy, Jack Ryan film, and I'm largely going with this one because it features one of the single greatest nuclear explosions in the history of cinema, as far as I'm concerned. Have you seen Some of All Fears?
Have not.
Okay, really great spy thriller, but yeah, there's one moment that will just live in my head forever because it just happens so freaking suddenly and yeah, oh my God, it's an amazing scene. But no, the whole film though is like really great from start to finish. Absolutely love that one. So I'm gonna pick
Ah,
that
and
one as
that's
my
him back with Liev Schreiber.
yes, yep, indeed, he was
Hmm.
in that one. So yeah, no, that's the one I'm going with. So there you go.
All right. Well,
Um,
that's on Stan, so I've
mm,
added it to my watch list.
yeah, I have it on DVD, but yeah, I mean, that was back before we had options. So I would either stream it in HD or I would upgrade that one to Blu-ray because, yeah, I don't like all of the Tom Clancy films, but no, that one just really stood out in terms of the actual story and plot. So, yeah, so there you go.
Hmm.
Did you want to go for three least favorite Affleck
Oh,
films
well, I
or?
wasn't going to go three, but I think the worst one, because again,
Mhm.
there's a bunch I can't remember, but I would say probably my worst one is Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, that is definitely
Why was I watching that? I think it
I
was one
don't
of
know.
my movie projects or
Mm,
something that I had a reason. Oh yeah, Michael Shannon's in it. So that's
mm,
why I watched
right,
it.
right.
And it's long and pretty not, yeah, it's just kind of bored. And then
Yeah.
yeah, nah.
Mm. Um, for me, look, yeah, I'm not going to say Phantoms because that would just be mean. Um, I, look,
You can say it if it is the worst for you. I know what people think of Phantoms. It's okay.
yeah, so I'm not gonna go with the flow. There's a few that I wasn't a big fan of, like Air. I thought was very lackluster. I didn't think much of that one, despite it being critically acclaimed. Oh my God, hang on, was that the yeah, God, that was a disappointment. Um, that movie Hypnotic that came out a couple of years ago by Robert Rodriguez, who, as you know, is my number one most favorite filmmaker of all time. I was deeply disappointed in that. But I'm gonna go look, as much as I love the film because it is so fucking terrible, I'm gonna go with Gigli. Um,
Which I still
that
haven't seen, but
that
I
film is
will be
just
watching soon for a certain
an
Mr. Pacino.
absolute abomination, that film. Yeah, but it's to me, it's so bad, it's amazing. It's almost like a Neil Breen level of filmmaking. Almost, not quite that bad, but yeah, it's deeply offensive. It has some of the most cringeworthy dialogue ever made that sticks with you, though. Yeah, things. When you get to the turkey time bit, you'll be like, "Oh my God, why am I sitting here watching this?" But anyway,
Hmm.
so yeah, I'm gonna go with that one as far as least
Hmm.
favorite
I
slash
like that
most
we did
favorite.
one least favorite and you managed to talk about a bunch of films.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, honorable mentions. But in terms of films that I do deeply love, let's get stuck into one right now.
Hmm.
So yeah, this film came out 2 years after Mallrats, and we had the promise at the end of Mallrats, Jay and Silent Bob will return in Chasing Amy. So whatever date this movie was released in Australia in '97. I was there on the Thursday morning, the first session. I accidentally dressed all in black, like long black shorts, a black shirt. I think I had a beanie on at the time. And I'll never forget a couple walking into the theater and they're going up. And I heard the woman say to the guy, like, "Oh, look, there's Jay." And I'm like, oh fuck. That was an accident. But yeah, so I was like, oh, ready to go for another Jay and Silent Bob adventure. Oopsies.
Yeah, you get
Um,
one scene. Oh, by the way, we're going to be very spoilery on this. So
oh, very
if
spoilery,
you
yeah.
haven't seen the film, I know we keep forgetting to announce that in our episodes,
We
but
do.
yes, if you
Yeah.
haven't seen the film, we're going to talk all about it. So go watch it
Yes, press
first
pause on
and
this
then.
podcast. Go watch the movie, come back.
Mm.
We will be here for you
Mm.
once you hit play. Uh, Welcome back, everybody. I'll just say that for the people who did actually
Yeah.
pause it, you
So
jerks.
yeah, you get Jay and Silent Bob for one scene.
Yeah, for one very, very brief scene at the end, and it's not even, I mean, they're kind of, it's almost like the previous two films happened in a different universe because, like, Jay is kind of like, Snoochie Boochies. Who talks like that? That is fucking baby talk, it's like, hang on, so who are you? Like, yeah, but I dug that. I thought it was, yeah. Anyway, so no, this film, yeah, stars Ben Affleck and Jason Lee as Holden McNeil and Banky. God, I can't even remember. Edwards. There you go. Yeah, actually, I wouldn't have picked that in a million years. I just know him as Banky. Who are a pair of like quite successful independent comic book artists who have a series called Blunt Man and Chronic, based on Jay and Silent Bob. And so Holden meets Alyssa, played by Joey Lauren Adams, and he just absolutely falls head over heels for this woman to the point where he's just making a complete smug jerk of himself, which we'll talk about that because I just love that so much. And yeah, well, in his mind, things are going really well until he finds out that she is a lesbian. Um, so he's kind of wrestling with that whole thing, like, what to do until it gets to a point where he just can't take it anymore and he just breaks down to her and spills his heart out. And at first, she's absolutely, betrayed and emotionally distraught because they had such a good friendship, until she suddenly has this change of heart and like lunges herself at him. And so, yeah, the two of them are having their thing, which kind of gets in the way of Holden and Banky's relationship, and yeah, just no good really comes of it. Yeah, but it's one of those things I've always loved this movie because it is real, I even though, like, the ending was a complete downer and stuff, like, I don't know, that's life, like that is the kind of thing we friends come and go, relationships come and go, and that sort of thing. And yeah, I love the ending. But anyway, what's your history with this film? When did you first see it?
Well, I first saw it way back, I don't know when
Mm,
I decided to watch all the Kevin Smith movies. And I don't know at what point I went back and found this one.
hmm
But remember I said that I didn't know if I'd watched it since
mm,
back then.
yeah.
I just noticed I've logged it on Letterboxd. I watched it again in 2020.
Oh, wow.
Did
Okay.
not remember that I did that.
Wow. Okay.
Anyway, I remembered I gave it 3 stars in 2020, which is
hmm
interesting. I remembered that back when I first saw it, I was disappointed because I had, the other Kevin Smith movies and
hmm
then to this one, which was so different.
mm,
And watching it last night, and because, lots of people love this. You and Liam talked about loving it. And I was like, oh,
mm.
maybe I just need to be older to, feel it more. So,
Mm.
yeah, watching it again yesterday, I don't like this movie very much.
Oh, okay. This is going to make for a good discussion then. Also,
Um,
I do apologize to all the people who are watching this on YouTube. We are recording this episode a little bit earlier than we normally do, and so I am having an absolute fight with the sun right now. I've got Harley Quinn life-size cutouts here trying to block it, and the Sun's
it's
winning right
moved.
now. So yeah, it has. So yes, I do apologize for my video quality. Oh, look if I oh wow. Anyway,
Hmm.
see, I was the opposite. I'd given this movie 4.5 stars on Letterboxd because I really loved it, but there were just a few things that I thought I had issues with and everything. But watching it again the other night, after some of the experiences I've had since the last time I watched it, like including, my, well, what I thought was my closest friend of 45 years just deciding that he didn't want to be friends anymore and exiting my life. I don't know, this movie just like, really I actually got teary at the end of it this time around. I Because it really, like, yeah, kind of brought some stuff up for me. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of things in it. Like, I've been in that situation where, you fall for a girl that is impossible to be with, or, there's a lot of things I can relate to this movie. But yeah, no, so I wound up, yeah, dishing 5 stars out to it. Yeah, it is a really great film in my book. I love that Kevin Smith, he came from like this $5 million movie that was like really slick and polished, and they went back to shooting this one on 16 millimeter film. So, it just has that beautiful picture quality, that sort of graininess to it and everything, which I just love the look of the film. Yeah, but yeah. So, what are some of the reasons why you weren't
Well,
a huge fan?
Ben Affleck kind of fits for, when people call someone a wet blanket.
Hmm.
He's just yeah, a wet blanket. And then, you know, he falls for this girl, turns out she's a lesbian, so he just gets all moody and doesn't want to, is just annoyed
Mm.
and just is a jerk. And then he
Hmm.
finds out that, as she said in that big fight, she slept with half the women in town and he doesn't care. But because she had a thing with two guys in high school, suddenly he doesn't want to be with her anymore.
Mm.
Apart from the fact that she's a lesbian, but then she met the right guy and now she's with a guy. And also, it's interesting that no one knows bisexual is a thing because
Mm.
that obviously is what she is
Mm.
potentially if
Yeah,
she's
yeah,
with him.
yeah.
Um, and then all her girlfriends are like, oh, another one bites the dust. Like,
Mm.
it's super common that lesbians just find the right guy and then aren't lesbians anymore.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I always kind of thought, it's like, okay, so, all a lesbian needs is Ben Affleck to come along.
Mm.
But no, like
And a terrible Ben Affleck too. Like
oh yeah, yeah.
this
But
character is awful.
yeah, I love so much how much he tries to, put on a macho front and everything in front of her, like trying to win her. That smarmy way that he tries to when he's always chatting her up and everything, but it's so real. Like that is how guys act around girls that when they're trying to win them over, and I thought he played it perfectly. And yeah, we're not supposed to really like him because out of the two of them, like Banky is obviously the right, he's always in the right. He is the voice of reason. He is the character that, I mean, he predicts at one point, after he comes in and sees the two of them have slept together on his couch and they're sitting outside, and, he says something along the lines of, this is going to end badly and everything. It's like, yeah, this guy knows,
Well, yeah, especially when Ben Affleck thinks a threesome will fix everything.
Yeah, I know. And again, that just adds to how stupid his character
Mm.
is because that is the most ridiculous, conclusion to come to. But
Yeah, I know. I
yeah.
mean, it was a fun journey of just seeing as the movie went on, like how terrible all his decisions were and
Oh yeah.
how they built up. And that fight in the car park when she was saying stuff to him, I
Mm,
was like, yeah, well, at least she is saying that stuff and
mm,
realizing, and in the threesome scene, what she says as well.
mm,
So I was glad. I actually liked the ending
mm,
because if they had done some kind of happy ever after
mm.
thing, then I would have been so angry if
Yeah,
that had
oh,
happened.
absolutely, absolutely. I love when Alyssa is sitting there, like, with the co-panelist or whatever, and she goes, "Oh, who was that?" And she's like, "Just some guy I know." I was like,
Used to
"Oh,
know.
oh, yeah."
Mm.
Um, oh man, that hit hard. It
Mm.
was sort of like, yeah, because like I said, it's all so very real.
Also, I would be so pissed off if someone made a comic about a real story that I was a part of, used my real name, and drew someone that looked like me.
Mm, yeah,
That
yeah.
I thought that was pretty. terrible.
I wonder what I can do with AI. No, just kidding. Um, yeah. So anyway, yeah. No, there's oh God, so many standout moments in this film for me. I absolutely love when they get invited to the nightclub Meow Mix. And because this whole thing was actually, well, one of the main reasons that this story came to life was because so in that Meow Mix scene, the woman who's on stage who introduces Alyssa to like to get her to come up and sing. So she back in the like earlier in the 90s, she was actually a director and had a film called Go Fish that I think it played on the festival circuit at the same time Clerks did. And Scott Mosier, the producer, he yeah. Hang on a second, I've just got to note what time that was. Not that I can see. It's about 38 minutes. Uh, okay. All right. Let me backtrack. Yeah, okay. So one of the key elements that brought this story to life was so I no, hang on, I'm going back too far. Hang on.
Yeah, you're
Uh,
just talking about the woman that was on stage.
yeah, I know. I'm just trying to remember what a good point was to jump back in.
Mm.
Um, oh yeah, Scott Mosier. Um, so Scott Mosier, the producer of all of these, Kevin Smith films and who's played various roles in all of them and stuff, he actually like fell head over heels for her, and she was a lesbian, and so that was actually largely the inspiration for this story, because yeah, Kevin Smith was just like, holy shit, dude, like, that's destined to fail, which was interesting. But also, Kevin Smith has a brother who around the time like came out as being gay, and so yeah. But I mean, I know Smith gets a lot of criticism with this film, for the way that he wrote gay people in it. And I can't really comment on it because I'm not gay, despite what many people think. Yes, Wombat, if you're listening. But yeah, but I don't know. I just thought in the terms in the context of this story, I thought the characters were fine, yeah, like I know there is the whole criticism of how quickly Alyssa turns, but yeah, like you said, and I think I read somewhere like one of the comments in on Letterboxd, someone said like if they just replaced the word gay with bisexual, it would have solved all the problems, And
Yeah, it really did come off as she was just with women because, but then she met him and was like, oh, I am attracted to a guy. And it just,
mm. Oh yeah, here we
yeah,
go. It's the top comment. Half of this movie's problems
yeah.
would have been solved by the word bisexual. Yeah. Yeah, look, I get that, but
And I do. There's another one that says the only funny thing about this movie is the idea that someone would give up sleeping with women to date the goateed crybaby, which is Ben Affleck. I'm like,
absolutely.
yeah, it's a
Hmm
strange character to use for that kind of plot line too,
Mm. Yeah.
because he doesn't really seem amazing. Like,
Well, no. But I think it's more because like the two of them were both comic book artists. They both, they had so much in common, on that kind of level, and which makes it kind of sadder because, maybe they could have actually really had something if Ben Affleck hadn't been such a screw up.
mm.
So yeah. But let's talk about Dwight Ewell as Hooper Lamont,
That's one
aka
of the
Hooper X.
best things about this film.
Oh my God. So when we first meet this character, like, yeah, he's this like really sort of militant black guy, like, doing a seminar at a very small con. I mean, my God, that room was so tiny. And yeah, which leads to a hilarious dialogue exchange when, Banky is throwing, obviously baited questions to get him fired up. And speaking of fired up, yes, he pulls a gun and starts shooting and kicking the stand down. Everyone flees in panic and everything, but it turns out it's just all a big act because he is as gay as they get. And I, yeah, I love that whole dynamic of, because he's a gay black character, and obviously just it was a different time. Like nowadays, obviously, like that wouldn't be a problem, but it just sort of shows how much we've progressed as a society that he's got to put on this front. Um, I love that scene where they're in the CD shop and he sees that little kid, and that little kid gave one of the best performances in the film, I reckon, when he's like, see that man there, he the devil, and looking at Ben Affleck, and Affleck's just like, oh, for fuck's sake. And I just love that kid. He's just like looking at him, like shaking his head, like in,
Mm.
absolute shame. Yeah, that was so funny. That's what I love about this film. Like, there's a lot to it. It wasn't sort of,
That was a little nostalgia hit too, walking around a music shop looking at
wasn't it?
CDs, Pearl Jam
Yeah.
t-shirt on the wall behind the
Yeah, yeah,
counter.
yeah. I know. I'm looking at that back wall, like the top 10 or whatever, and was like,
Rage
oh,
Against the
look at all
Machine
those. There
posters.
was the Pulp Fiction soundtrack I saw up there, which I guess was like a
I
little,
saw Oasis's Morning Glory CD.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I know. Oh my God, I love that so much. So yeah, that was cool. But yeah, there's a lot of cameos from the Kevin Smith regulars pop up. Like Ethan Suplee was at the start of the film just as a comic fan at a signing.
And a baby Casey Affleck with the
Baby Casey
whole
Astronaut was in there.
yeah,
Yeah.
that Brody not Brody, Banky
Yeah.
from movie. He's
Um,
kind of the same character. Oh, that's one
he
thing I
was a bit.
noticed. At one stage, Ben Affleck says a line, and I'm like, oh, that's like a Jason Lee line. And it was
Mm.
weird because it was Ben Affleck saying it,
Do you
and it
remember what the
just threw
line
me.
was?
I can't remember. It was just a thing at the end of a sentence that he
Oh,
added on.
okay.
I meant to write it down and I didn't, and I've
Right,
forgotten. But
right.
it was just yeah, it was just a common term
Mm.
that you put at the end of a sentence, but it's the kind of thing that
Hmm.
Jason Lee's character in this are Mallrats, because they're
Hmm.
sort of similar,
Mm.
like would say,
Yeah, right.
and it didn't fit with Ben Affleck's character, and it just
Ah,
threw me
okay.
for a second. It's in the scene where he's talking to Jay and Silent Bob.
Right, right. Okay. But yeah, Scott Mosier appears in this again. He's the collector who was accusing a Banky of being a tracer.
Oh, I
Uh,
wondered if that was him. That
yeah,
was
yeah, that was him. Matt Damon appears in this film very
yeah,
briefly
very
as
very
a
young looking Matt Damon.
oh wow, and of course Brian O'Halloran is
Yeah,
is Jim Hicks, so yet another member
no.
of the Hicks family, of course. Um, uh, what are they, triplets? Um, Matt Damon, his character actually has a name, Sean Oren. Wow, did not expect that because they were in it for such
One
a
scene.
brief period of
Yeah.
time. Yeah, um, yeah. What else? Oh man. This is so many. I love the scene when Holden and Banky are at the train station, and Banky's brought with him like a ton of porn magazines or whatever, and Ben Affleck goes off to make a phone call, and he comes back and there's that little kid and Jason
Mm.
Lee's like, and so then Black Beauty did some mounting of her own
Yeah.
or of his own or whatever. Yeah, I love that. So yeah, it was one of those movies that like even though it had the core story, like there were just so many little things here and there throughout it that I really dug. But yeah, so yeah, of course, you know, 1997 me sitting there watching this film, I'm just like, this is not a Jay and Silent Bob movie. And so, yeah, they finally show up at the end when Holden's waiting in a diner to give
Yeah,
them
being mopey.
a fat paycheck for the likeness rights or whatever. And yeah, I really dig that scene though. Yeah, I don't know. Like if you watch the way that Jason Mewes acts in that scene, like
Mm.
there's just so many cool little mannerisms and things that he does, like
And the
um
weird eating spoonfuls of sugar.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, no, I really dug it. But then of course, we're sort of thinking like, you know, Silent Bob's gonna have his one line somewhere and Holden says, I don't know what the hell I'm doing and Silent Bob says while he's biting his fingernails, you're chasing Amy. And it's like, what? And then he goes into this whole big spiel, which just sort of yeah, it was unexpected at the time. About how he was, and this is where the title of the movie comes in. How Silent Bob had been, after this girl who would have been just the dream girl and probably would have had the greatest relationship ever, but he basically blew it, and he's spent his whole life ever since then chasing Amy. Um, and yeah, that's the sort of big revelation that Ben Affleck needs for his absolutely stupid resolution to his problems. But yeah, um, but yeah, no, so I dug that scene though. Like, I mean, at the time I was like, oh my God, is that all we're getting? But later on, I was like, no, that's cool. I dig that because we get plenty more of Jay and Silent Bob in the next film. So
Mm.
yeah. But no, this film was actually I meant to send you a short film to watch before watching this one because the very first sort of proper short film that I ever made, I had this idea, and I'm going sort of anecdotal here for a minute, but I once had this idea. It suddenly occurred to me that every girlfriend, or pretty much every girlfriend I ever had, her name ended with the letter A. And I kind of thought, wouldn't that be funny if there was a character in a movie who, had that realization, but then was just sort of had this obsession of avoiding girls whose names end with an A because, they're cursed in a way. Until, he meets this girl who is the Alyssa to his Holden, and he finds out that her name's Rebecca and is like, not, that's it, nothing to do with her. And then later on at the end, it's revealed that her name was spelt Rebekah. Oh, and this movie, I think, it's ridiculous how much it inspired my own film because I mean, this is like, I think I wrote that script in 98, and yeah, I was just like, oh my God, all you need to do is like, have like cool dialogue and a movie is made. And so I wrote this script, made this movie, and I hate it because it's just people standing around talking. It's like, this isn't good. Like, and that's what I was talking about with Clerks, is that there is a real knack to getting dialogue sounding good, and all that sort of thing. And which is why I just really applaud Kevin Smith in a lot of ways because, yeah, like this guy knows how to do it. And I even had a scene that was directly ripping off the scene in this film where Holden and Banky are having the screaming fight in the kitchen, and where Holden basically reveals like, because I'm in love with her and stuff. I had a scene where yeah, our main character and his flatmate like have this big argument in the kitchen. Yeah, and stuff. But I do remember though the one of the people I casted, like he wasn't an actor. He was just like one of my best friends, and so I was like, yeah, you can be in the movie. And we actually had to write his lines on pieces of paper, hold them off screen. So his eye line kind of matched the other guy, but he was actually just reading his lines off screen. But it actually worked all right. But no, so this film was like, yeah, really, really influential to me, which I guess is another reason why I, have this love for it because yeah, I did kind of take this movie and put it into my heart where it lived and inspired me. So yeah. Um, what else?
Well, the big thing we haven't mentioned yet
Mm,
is Joey Lauren Adams, who
mm,
I really like. And so
yeah.
I was really happy that she was the main character in
Hmm.
this, even though I didn't overly love the movie.
Mm,
Because yeah, she was in Mallrats, obviously,
mm,
and also pops up in Dazed and Confused
yes.
briefly. So yeah, I think she's really good. I like that she had so much to do in this. I do
Hmm.
think the acting was great, even if I didn't really like the characters, some of them,
Mm,
or the story. But
hmm.
yeah, she's
Yeah.
lovely. I just find there's something about her that's
Mm.
just she's really charming. So
Yeah, look, I agree. I will never be able to quite get in tune with her voice, which still kind of grates me a little bit, but
I
it's
like
not
it.
to the point where it's like, oh my God, I can't stand this person. Like,
Mm,
yeah, it's fine. She just has a unique voice. Uh,
mm.
so yeah, but no, yeah, she is absolutely fantastic in this film. Yeah, there were a lot of scenes. Actually, the one scene that I really thought she absolutely shined was the big monologue by Holden in the car, when they pull over and he's got to confess everything to her. Her facial expressions,
Mm.
there's so much anger and hurt and real pain in there, and it looks genuine. And I love the contrast, but because he's just sitting there, I mean, like I said, I've been in that situation before. I have been in that situation where you are just infatuated with someone who, for whatever reason is just not the right person or, that kind of thing. And, but from memory, I don't think I've ever actually crossed that line. And because I, yeah, I don't think that was the right thing to do.
Mm.
I think he should have just gotten over himself and been friends with her. Like, that's the sort of thing you sort of get to a point sometimes where it's like, well, if I can't have this person in a romantic sort of way, at least, we can be really good friends. But yeah,
Especially if they say they're a lesbian, so
well, yeah,
they're like
exactly.
not even interested in your sex at all. Like
Yeah, yeah,
maybe just
exactly.
move on and just
Mm,
like romantically move on and yeah, just be their
mm.
friend.
Just get over it, just yeah, but which is something that he couldn't do, which again just is makes him such a flawed character. But
Mm.
yeah, the way that he pours his heart out and everything, like man, there was just such a tone of defeat in his voice, like he just kind of, you know, really thought that that was going to be the end of things, and stuff. And I do love though, like after she storms out of the car and his line is, "Was it something I said?" I thought that was absolutely fantastic. Yeah. So yeah, like you said, there's a lot of really great performances in the film.
Yeah, that
I
argument in the car park was definitely one of
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
standout things. And yeah, and the fact that he's brought up that conversation when they're sitting in a crowd watching a game, like it's
Mm.
just, and with
Oh,
everyone sitting all around them.
and I don't know if you noticed this, but the guy that was sitting next to Holden, whose friend, they talk about, I told you these were good seats. Um, the guy immediately next to him was the guy who played Rick Derris in Clerks. When he gets up to the counter and says to Dante like how much do you bench, that whole thing. So yeah, I thought that was kind of funny because of course Alyssa's going through this whole thing about Rick Derris and stuff, and Rick Derris is sitting right next to him in a way. So yeah, uh, keep an eye out if you ever watch that
I
film
didn't
again.
even remember that that was a character name from
Oh,
Clerks.
wow. Okay, there you go. It comes up again in which film is it? Is it Dogma? Um there's like a company logo or something with Darius or yeah, anyway. It's one of the sort of, regular things that, Easter eggs, if you will, in the Askewniverse. Yeah. No, one thing I wanted to mention before was in the Meow Mix scene, where they get invited to the club before Holden knows about Alyssa and stuff. I love how Banky just doesn't want to be there, and he's just like absolutely bored. He's like, "Come on, let's go, traffic and everything." I love so much how when he has that revelation that it's actually a lesbian club, how he's like, "Oh," and
Mm.
then he's like so into it, and then of course, yeah, the moment where they both find out that Alyssa is a lesbian and everything, he's just like, sucked in. I love that. And then, of course, they're sitting at that table, and Banky's just asking all of these, like, absolutely outrageous questions. Like, so since you're into chicks, do you just like look at yourself in front of a mirror and stuff? Um,
I
and
do find
yeah,
it funny. That's when Ben Affleck started moping and
yeah,
just was checked
exactly.
out. And then Banky and her are just having this great conversation and start like comparing past injuries and all of that.
And do you know where that comes from?
No.
Okay, so that whole scene is a direct homage to Jaws because, as you know from more, actually that scene was meant to be in Mallrats, but it was actually cut out of Mallrats because, as you know, Mallrats has so much Jaws stuff in it. So yeah, there's a scene in Jaws where two of the characters are like comparing injuries and stuff, and so yeah, that was actually a very big homage to Jaws. So yeah, but no, I love that whole shift. And of course, when yeah, Holden is now the one who's like, come on, we're gonna go traffic. It's like, oh wow. So yeah, no, that was cool. Oh man, there's so many things I absolutely love about this film and always will. But yeah, like I said, mostly it's because yeah, it was just a very realistic ending. Not a particularly nice ending, but yeah, it's the way the life is sometimes. So yeah.
No, but I see sometimes I get sad when people don't end up together at the end.
Mm.
This is not one of those
Yeah.
movies. I was happy, and then when the little like 1 year later thing happens at the
Mm,
end, and he approached her, I was like, oh no, please do not reconnect.
mm,
And so, yeah,
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
glad that
No,
that
it
didn't
was good.
happen.
Yeah.
I'm glad she had that final line to sort of show that she wasn't gonna
Mm,
try and see him again because,
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's pretty much everything that I have in the bag for this film. What about you?
I think, yeah, I think that's it.
All right. So yeah, there you go. That is the third installment in our Askewniverse series. And oh my goodness, I am so looking forward to rewatching Dogma because it has been a really long time
Mm,
since I've seen that one. Yeah, actually, yeah, I don't
that's
know.
the first one I could see at the cinema.
Right. No, this one for me was the first one, but yeah, no, I was also there day one for Dogma,
No,
and
yeah, I was talking about Dogma.
I know.
Yeah, okay, but your sentence just made it sound like,
Okay, let me rephrase.
yeah.
So, Chasing Amy was the first
Mm,
cinematic experience for me, but I was also there day one for Dogma when that movie
mm,
came out. Does that sound clearer?
yes.
Okay, cool. But yes, I and in that next episode, I'll get to gush about how that was the time I got to talk to Jason Mewes on the phone because yeah, that's still one of the high points of my life.
And
Um,
we get to gush about Alan Rickman. So,
we do, we do, we
mm,
do. Oh God, and yeah, freaking everybody. But
mm.
yes, but I will save that story for the next installment. So yeah. So yes, stay tuned for that one. Stay tuned for all the episodes which we are now releasing weekly. Oh my God, that's how much we love you guys. We are just pumping them out now. The Dan and Frankie Studios with its terrible lighting. Um, hey, at least the sound quality is good. So,
Yeah,
there's
we're a
that.
podcast. Sound
Yeah,
is the
exactly.
main thing, so.
Exactly. Yeah, so yes, so stay tuned for all the good stuff that we've got coming up. And yeah, in the meantime, stay safe, watch lots of movies, and bye for now.